We just learned how to display the date on a web page. Now we're going to look at displaying the time. If you're following along with the exercise files, this is Chapter 11, Example 2, script.html. And all it's got on here is an H2 with an ID of showtime. So let's move over to the script.js file to see what we can do there. When the page loads, it's going to call the showTheTime function, which currently is just a skeleton. So we're going to paste in our code because there's a bit of it. We start off by creating and setting a couple of new variables. Now is, as we often do, a new date object. Then we create a variable called the time, and that's going to be set based on several functions that we have not yet written. One is called showTheHours, and we're passing now.getHours. Another is called showZeroFilled, which we are passing now.getMinutes. Then we call showZeroFilled again with something called now.getSeconds. And finally, a function we're going to write called showAMPM. Now we've added a new line at the end that's document.getElementById showtime.innerHTML is the time. This will put the time, which we just set up by calling all these different functions. This will take the time and put it out onto our web page. And now here is the setTimeout function. SetTimeout is a little bit tricky in that it takes two parameters. This is a built-in JavaScript function. It takes two parameters. The first is the name of a function or procedure or something that JavaScript needs to do. And the second is the number of milliseconds until it should do it. So 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds, so this says do this every second. So showTheTime will come through, wait 1 second, and then because the first parameter is showTheTime, it will call itself. So if you have any lines of code after this one that the code should just fall into, it never will. You'll never get to any of them because this is just going to keep coming back again and looping. In this case, this is what we want it to do, so we're fine. The next function we're adding on is called showTheHours, and that was called up here when we were setting the time. And we pass in something that we're going to call the hour. And all we're doing is saying, if the hour is 0, then we want to return a 12. If the hour is less than 13, then we want to return the hour itself. Otherwise, return the hour minus 12. This is because JavaScript internally works on a 24-hour clock, not 12. If we want to show that it is 8 p.m., now.getHours is going to return a 20. So we need to take that 20, say, is it 0? No. Is it less than 13? No. Okay, otherwise that leaves us here, so we return 8. Here's our next function, showZeroFilled. Minutes and seconds can be anywhere between 0 and 59, but if it's in the range of 0 to 9, you still want it to be a 2-digit number, or it's just going to look odd. So with this routine, we take in any number and return it back as 2 digits with a colon in front. So both minutes and seconds will have that colon in front followed by 2 digits. So what's passing in is a parameter called inValue. If inValue is greater than 9, then we've got a 2-digit number already, so we'll return colon and inValue. Otherwise, we've got a 1-digit number, so we return colon 0 and inValue. And here's our last piece of the puzzle, showAMPM. We're checking to see if now.getHours is less than 12, then we return space AM. Otherwise, we return space PM. In many of these places above, you can see we could put our last returns inside an else, but we want to make it really clear that you can't get to here as anything other than just following through. By the time you get to this point, it should be very clear that this is the only possibility that you have left. So now we're going to save our file and see how it looks in the browser. And there's our clock ticking away once per second.